Hi there, welcome to Mark Bajerski YouTube channel. It's a lovely day to talk about something that I reckon is probably one of the most important messages I've ever as soon as I get into it in my thoughts, the channeling comes in by the draw. Like the input is so strong. This is a very powerful message. It really is. Where do you begin? Where do you start? But it's important that I make this video now because a lot of people never actually truly grasps what I have and had tried to say right from the beginning. So I'm gonna start again and put it in a nutshell. So we're gonna sit down and just listen to this and see if it makes any sense to those who are scientists, those who are doctors, those who are nurses, those who are frontline workers, those who are holding up the scaffolding to try and keep all of this real. And to a certain extent, the illusion is real when you create it. But when you step back and start to think, hang on a minute, something isn't right. And a lot of people who are holders up of this, police, security guards, all of these people who basically just follow orders, but deep down they know something's very wrong. This message is not only for them because I'm asking them to listen to their higher intuition, their higher self, not their brains, which is fogged or, deluded in fear because they've been programmed. I'm talking about listening to their heart and truth inside. We always know the truth. It's just we either choose to ignore it or we embrace it and say no more. So I'm gonna put it down in simple terms and in a way that you understand what this all means and the repercussions, not for humanity as much as for yourself. And trust me when I say to you, this isn't karma. It isn't. This is more about how the flow of life and moving back into the spirit world works. Why do I know so much about the spirit world and moving back and being trapped and all of those things? Because for the past decade and a half, I've traveled to well over 30 countries trying to understand, trying to help spirit back from an in-between place, a place of destruction, a place of nothingness, a place of soulless, a place of just waste of space, basically. There is no time, there is no anything really, and it's quite sad really. And I'll explain what's really important that you've got to understand before I even start talking about this and who I'm talking to. You'll know as soon as I start talking. And I'm sure this video will be shared to people who other people know who they are and they want them to understand this message. So it's for the ones who are so afraid to get up off their knees and speak the truth. Those who are turning a blind eye to what's happening right now in this world. So, okay, here goes. The time I've travelled and the time I tried to help spirit trapped in between two worlds, or let's not beat around the bush, eh? Let's call it what it is. Lost souls. There is a reason why people are called lost souls, and it's not basically of this world. It's a world in between this world and our home world, which is the spirit world. A lost soul is something that you need to understand, very much so, because once you understand this and understand what happens to your soul, then it makes sense to why you need to get up off your knees. It became really clear and evident to me that when I started doing this work and going into properties, going into fields, going into churches, going into every kind of building you can imagine, there was a common cause, a common theme, a pattern that I saw, and that was sometimes quite challenging to try and help that lost soul. And that is, it's twofold energy, but I'm going to stick with just one at the moment, and that's guilt. Guilt is that energy where, imagine you've done something wrong when you were a little kid and you were walking home because you knew you were going to open that front door and you knew you had to face the truth. So you'd either made the decision just before you opened the door to say, okay, I'm just going to tell the truth, I've done something I shouldn't have done, and I'm going to just walk through that door. Or your mum and dad already know the truth because they've been told, and you're walking through that door and you don't know what's going to happen. You know that feeling? It's kind of a fear feeling and a feeling of guilt. Well, let me tell you, in this lifetime, if you accumulate that energy, the moment you start to go through the process of leaving this physical body and moving into the spirit world, what happens is a chain of events. And I'm just going to go through two of those events. One is that you start to come out of your body and you start to change your energy from the physical to the spiritual. In that change, everything becomes evident, meaning that, you know how people say, just wait till God judges you, or, you know, the higher judges you. It doesn't work like that before you go through into the light. What happens is you judge yourself. So what I've seen from my clients moving into the light and what I witnessed and heard was a repeat of the same energy frequency. And it was evident that this happens to everybody. And what happens is, just as you're moving into the light, there's an overwhelming urge of energy that comes through with a million or a trillion images of everything that you've done in your life. And it is at that moment that you judge yourself. Who else can judge you more than yourself? Who else is going to actually say, you know what, I know you. You. It makes sense. And as you're seeing all these things, you judge by way of measuring. Did I do my best? Was that the right thing to do? If, let's say, you know that what's going on right now, there are things that are held back and not spoken to when people are going for certain poisons and injections, when you know that the masks don't work, but you are pushing an agenda, you are just following orders, and you can see there is suffering around you, you can see that people are having adverse reactions, you can actually clearly see and know that you can see the statistics that nobody else knows apart from you and your officers and people that you know, and the higher echelons of this kind of tyranny. You'll see all of these things in front of you at that given moment, and like the little child about to walk through the door, most people accept what they've done and say, okay, I did my best. But the ones who turn the blind eye, and I can tell you this, my hand on my heart, never go into the light. They become trapped, or I call them spirit in denial. So they don't want to face the truth. They know that if they go through into the light, they fear it so much. And then what happens is they get into a lost soul energy. Now, the reason why I'm telling you this is because, let's just say, out of the whole of the world, the billions of people, I would probably say there is a handful of people who work to help people move back into the light. Basically, sit down and spend hours trying to help that soul accept and move into the light. One thing, I don't think many people would even know where to start. And the only reason why I do is because of, by accident, it basically just was such an organic thing that I started to put the pieces together. And to anybody else, this is absolute complete madness. But let me tell you something. If you are one of those people who completely and utterly turn a blind eye to what's going on, and you know wholeheartedly that there's something really bad happening, and you don't stand up and you don't speak out, I can guarantee you that the chances of you not moving back home is very, very high, very high. And if I'm right, and I could be wrong, but if I'm right, and you are trapped in between two worlds, let me tell you this as a fact. The art of helping people back home as a lost soul has nearly vanished. I personally don't know only one person that helps people back into the light. Most mediums, most psychics don't know how to do it and don't do it often. And sometimes they don't always get it right, and neither do I. It's a really tricky and difficult thing. So let me just put it to you. If I move into the light and there's nobody else there, that space and time, that is nil and void. There is no space and time. It could be in this world space and time literally thousands of years before anybody could even grasp that energy and even try and help you back into the light. Because I know this for a fact, spirit who is in the spirit world can't help you back. I don't know why. I have no idea. I've asked and I still don't know why. And the ones who can are of this world, who can attune to that energy and help you. That is my experience. I could be completely wrong, but I've been doing it for this long, and you can just look at my accounts. You go to Google, see that I've got 100% no negative comments, no he's a bullshitter, no he's full of this, he's a charlatan, none of that. Why is that? Because I'm genuine and I can say it right into your eyes. I don't know if I can help you back into the light, but I'll try. And a lot of people used to say, Mark, it's gone. No more smashing of glass, mirrors, no more this, no more that. Whatever you did worked. And there were times I'd say, actually, they have moved back into light. I felt it. Sometimes I say, I don't know. It felt like they did, but I'm not sure. So I was never egoistic, big-headed. It was like more of a really interesting experience, and please let me know. I'm really interested to see if this work is real. And about 3 months ago, I was up in the mountains, 2 months ago maybe, and I was with some friends, and I told them to keep walking because at that particular place I was just overwhelmed by a spirit that I tried to help, and I think I did. How many people can do that? And do you actually want to be one of those people trapped in between two worlds? Do you want to be a lost soul? Well, if the answer is I don't, and I want to move back home, and trust me, you do. You do want to move back home. Then I think now is the time that you stand up and you say, let me tell you something. I have been with people who are about to move into the light, who are multi-million and billionaires. Do you know what all that meant at that moment? Zero. Oh, let me do this right. Zero. If I do that, somebody will say I'm a whatever. But zero. Nothing. Nada. Zilch. The only thing that you have when you move back into the light is everything that you've done in this world. And let me tell you, the meek shall inherit the earth. Meaning that the meek, the ones who help their brothers and sisters when they fall down, give their last euro to somebody because they've got nothing else but they know somebody needs it. Those who listen with a caring ear, those who see injustice and help at any given moment. Those are the ones who move straight back into the light. Why? Because they know they did their best. So if you at this moment are struggling to really come to terms with what you should do, are you on the fence whether you should just say nothing like most people do? It's so much easier to say nothing. Well, let me tell you, that doesn't work when you move into the light, or if you want to move into the light. It has such a reverse effect, and it adds guilt into your heart. And just on a final note, one of the things as well that I noticed is when you are in a deep, deep feeling of inner guilt, and you try and hide that guilt by saying, I'm not going there, I'm ignoring it. Let me tell you, the spirit inside you is screaming. And I have seen people live in guilt, in pain and suffering, and many, many traumatic things happen to them. They create many, many bad situations in their life. And that guilt that you hold, it affects your children. It affects people around you. It may not be evident to them, but they can feel it. They know something's wrong. And I bet that people say to you many times, are you okay? Is there something wrong? Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're just so hardened to the fact that you just don't want to go there and you think it's all going to be fine. Well, let me tell you, it isn't. So now is your moment, and if you're listening to this, this is your last chance. I would embrace it with all your heart and be honest. I wish you a lovely day, guys. Take care. This is food for thought. Maybe you want to share it with somebody you know who absolutely keeps quiet, and they should speak out. And I truly hope that they do get up off their knees, unzip their lips, and begin to speak. For that is the most healing part of anybody's journey. Truth. Hide it, it's still a lie. Don't say anything, it's still a lie. And the only person it affects you in the long run, in the end, is you and your journey back home to a most beautiful place. Take care, guys.